Okay, I think we're live now. All right. So if you're watching this recorded, then it's not live, but we're live right now. It is Sunday night. I would like to first and foremost apologize for the lack of a Maddie Etherington video this afternoon, sorry. At about 2.5 hours before we were supposed to go live, I got an email from Matthew saying he needed to reschedule for 2 weeks. So he will be back the 1st of September. And on another note, the good thing that came out of it was I was scrambling to find another guest to fill his place. And Kevin Keane said he would do an episode with us in a couple of weeks as well. So I think the second week of September, we'll have Kevin Keane on. And the September 1st, we will have Matt Etherington. So again, sorry for everyone who tuned in because I know I blasted it everywhere. And was really looking forward to that one. But, shit happens. So.
Yep, things happen. That's life in show business is what that is. That's just life in show business.
Yeah. But we have a special guest tonight from who knows where. He told me like 3 different locations. I think he said something about him being from Kentucky, lives in North Carolina, moving to Tampa. Where are you at now, Andy?
So right now we are in North Carolina, and
okay.
All of our stuff is out of our house now. So we're as bare bones as it gets right now. So we're gearing up for the move. We're gonna head down there in a couple of days, but it's just chaos right now in the house. So
awesome.
But it's not right now, so it's all good.
Well, I'll be there the last week of the year. So if you're going to be in Tampa, like right before Christmas, the game before Boxing Day, I'll be able to check out with the Tampa Hammers. If you're going to be down there, we'll get to meet you.
Yeah.
That'll be cool. So I'm going to be spending a couple weeks. I'm going to be spending a week in Orlando and then a week in Tampa the end of the year. So that'll be fun. And hopefully, I'll get to meet you and we'll get to watch a game together.
Thank God.
On that note, real quickly,
if we just let me do this for half a second, Andrew, I'd like to congratulate you. I like calling you Andrew. So I think it's a very tasteful, sophisticated name. It's also my younger son's name. So
nice.
I have 2 boys. Isaac is the older one, and Andrew is the little guy. So anyway, congratulations on having
having a cool name.
And parents with excellent taste.
Yeah. So on that note, we had Lee and I missed an opportunity to actually go hang out with someone we've had on our show. Mr. Mark from Philadelphia didn't tell us he was hanging out with the Boston Hammers this last weekend.
I didn't know that until you just said that right now.
Isn't that crazy? I sent him a message. I'm like, dude, next time you not know that we're in Boston? Like next time you tell us, we'll go there. Yeah.
Not a good weekend for me in terms of getting out of the house.
Same here. I know. I would try to make it happen. But,
it's going to get better, but this weekend was not good. But I didn't know he was here. I would have gone to see him, of course.
Exactly.
Oh, of course.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So we got Gaz in the chat room. What's going on, Gaz? We got Neil from Down Under. So we got a guy from South Australia, a good friend of ours watching the show. We've had him on the show as well. Steve Mothersoul is here. That's good. Steve. Who else? Oh, Ray Borum, dude. Ray, man.
Hey,
good
Ray.
seeing you, man. Would love to get you on another show where I actually get to talk to you. That'd be cool. If you're actually up this late, maybe some Sunday night, you can come pop in with us. All right. So enough of that. First question we usually ask our guests here are, how on earth did you get into West Ham?
Oh, man. I would say this is probably a standard answer for a lot of American West Ham fans, but I've watched Hooligans back in the day.
There you go.
And I was, sort of drawn to them and started kind of following them. It just seemed like a cool culture. And then a few years ago, I was away at school and I decided, I'm just going to give this whole soccer thing a shot and, see if I like it. So I was like, I'm going to try to watch every game, and then it just took off like a wildfire. And now it's just, I've developed the obsession, but yeah, it's been awesome the whole time. So.
Yeah, it is. It's definitely an obsession, Yeah. I mean, I can't explain. It's so tough. This is definitely our favorite question when we're talking to American supporters, because it's always different. I mean, yeah, we've heard Green Street Hooligans a lot, but we've also heard, many other stories as well. So we never know. But it's still, no matter what it is, it doesn't matter, as long as you are in. I mean, like you said, you get obsessed.
Yep.
Yeah. I think that movie kind of paints, I guess, soccer fans in general in kind of a skewed light. And the more I started following them, the more people I connected with. I realized, man, this is an awesome group of people. Say what you want about the movie, but it's a good group of people. I've met a lot of friends, and me and my wife, we were fortunate enough to actually go to the Everton away game last year. I mean, just connecting with some of the fans there, it's been an awesome experience, and there's so much more to it than just some crazy movie.
Oh, so you went to Everton away. Hey, cheers, guys. Appreciate that. You went to Everton away. That was the good Everton match last year. That's the one we won.
It was a hell of a day, that's for sure.
Now, how'd you score that? How'd you set that up? And how come you went to an away match instead of going to the Olympic Stadium? Just out of curiosity.
So that was the only game that fell, or that was happening during the time that I was in England. So I was actually deployed, and I was on leave for 2 weeks, or a little over 2 weeks. And I was like, screw it, I'm gonna fly to London. And I was just looking at the schedule, and I was like, man, it'd be awesome to get to the Olympic Stadium to go to a home game. And unfortunately, that wasn't an option. Right. And reached out to Baz Cox on Twitter and said, hey, can I get some tickets? And met up with somebody and got the tickets, and took the train down to Liverpool. So it was I got really lucky, but like I said, it was a good game to go to.
So you made contact with Baz, who's a friend of ours. He's been on the show. He's a really good guy. He's a great guy. Have you been? So you've obviously talked to him. So do you do a lot of West Ham social media stuff? Have you met a lot of people that way?
Yeah, I mean, I've connected with people. I'm not so. To answer your question, yes, I'm on Twitter, and I guess I'm doing the Instagram thing as well. But I'm not a huge tweeter. But I've followed a number of West Ham accounts, obviously, like X and Dave Walker and guys like that. But I got a ton of follows, and I posted a photo that I took where the Bowling Ground used to be, and a bunch of West Ham fans, hit the follow button, and so that sort of propelled me, into that world, being connected with all kinds of people, just staying in touch with them, about the game and whatnot.
Which branch of the service are you in?
Marines.
Oh, wow. Well, okay. Oh, well, I'll tell you what. If we ever get into any trouble, I want you to be the one to come get me out of it.
Yeah. That's right.
Yeah, we appreciate your service, obviously.
Yeah, man.
So I mean, having a Marine on our side, always a good thing. Always a good thing.
I like the job.
That's awesome. So,
what was the reception like for you? I mean, what was your experience like going to the match with the other supporters? I mean, you sit in the away section when you went to that match?
Oh, yeah. It was actually funny. We were looking at before we reached out to Baz, and my wife was like, yeah, on Ticketmaster or whatever, there are some tickets that are close to the away section but not quite in it. I'm like, babe, we could get our asses kicked,
Come on, man.
But you are a Marine now. You are a Marine. Come on. You've really been in worse enemy territory than that, right?
What's
Plus,
that?
it's Everton. They're not that. I don't know.
Well, surely you've been in worse enemy territory than Everton, right? If you're a Marine, right?
Oh, yeah, for sure.
But you don't get all your kit with you in the ground, so that's.
I would say a harsher environment would be Afghanistan, but
right.
No, we stayed in a hotel in Liverpool, and we got there that day, and there was a bar like in the first floor of this hotel, and we were traveling all day, and we were like, hey, let's go get a beer, and we met these and this guy was like, hey, I'll take you to this pub tomorrow before the game, and you meet all my friends and all this stuff. And we go with them, and like the hospitality couldn't have been better. We had a great time. We hung out with them before, and then we back up with them after, and drank all day with them and stuff. So it was a great experience overall. It was nothing like you might expect if you've never been to a game before. So
you were with like West Ham fans and some of the Everton fans as well in the pub?
Yeah, so when we got there, it was kind of crazy. I wasn't expecting it because the guy, his name was Patty. He was like, "Yeah, we'll go to this Everton bar, and we'll drink with my friends and stuff." So I was expecting a sea of blue.
Fucking suicide mission, yeah.
Yeah.
It's 50-50. There's West Ham fans and Everton fans sitting right next to each other, just hanging out. It was. I was totally shocked. I was not expecting to see like that mixed company.
Yeah, man.
I'm shocked by that too.
That's strange. Yeah.
I'm shocked by that too. Yeah.
Over here, I could see that, but over there, no. Because over here, they suck, though. Oh, God. Everton fans in America suck.
They do.
Yeah.
We had a bad experience in Boston with them. Yeah. Fucking bastards.
Well, and they didn't like kick off or anything. They were just difficult to be around,
If I didn't have a migraine, it would have. Suck it. I want to smash my own head in the wall, let alone,
You know how tough I am, but I had my kids with me, so I don't want to get blood on my shirt or anything around my kids. You know what I mean? That's
So being in Kentucky, being in North Carolina, do you get to watch any matches with other groups?
No. Well, to answer your question, no. So where we are in North Carolina, it's straight military. Like there is nothing here. In Louisville, where I grew up, I guess there is a small group that will watch games occasionally. I've not been with them. I know they've got like a small presence on social media, but no, I've never watched a game with other West Ham fans, like pretty much outside of my family. So I think going down to Tampa would be a cool experience, actually getting to meet those people.
Yeah, man. Yeah. Now these people in Kentucky, like, I didn't even know they existed, man.
Yeah.
I haven't found them at all. I've been looking for different groups everywhere, big or small. It doesn't matter if it's 2 people or 20. So if you know them, send them our way, and we'd love to have them on the show and get them, try to help them get more people to go down there with them.
Yeah, I know the guy that I follow on Twitter. It's like Kentucky Irons or something. But I'll
really
tweet at him. He's not very active.
Yeah.
But yeah, I'll get you guys linked up.
Appreciate
that's awesome. Yeah, that's and so have you made any contact with the Tampa guys? Because we've had Tampa guys on. That's a good group down there. Have you hooked up with them yet?
I have not. I did some research just at like once I knew that we were going to go down to Tampa. That was one of the first things I looked for. Is there a group? Because I think there's a group in Orlando. And
there was.
Yeah, I don't know if it's real.
There was. Yeah, we reached out to them near the end of last season, and they basically told me that the guys just lost the love for it, and he's moving on to other things, and he would love to see the group, continue, but he doesn't see that happening. Now Tampa, the head of the Tampa, I can't even say there's a head. There's just a group, and there was one guy that does all the stuff on social media. His name's Cam. He's been over, a million times, and he's moved to Knoxville, so now he's joining up with the Knoxville Hammers. So I don't know what's going on with that group, but we definitely want to find out by having another person from that group to come on our show and give us an update what's going on with that group. Yeah, but they've had the West Ham Fan TV guys come down and visit them and do a little video on them and stuff. So yeah, it looked like a decent chunk of people.
Hopefully, Tampa stays together.
Yeah. Tampa will.
Yeah, I think
it's Orlando I worry about. Yeah.
So Andrew, do you I don't know what your schedule is like being in the Marines. Are you around on Saturday mornings at 10 o'clock for the most part, or are you watching a lot of games live? Or are you watching a lot of because I'm not in the Marines, but I do have 2 kids, which being in the Marines is a lot harder, but having 2 kids makes Saturday mornings very difficult for me to get together and watch games with people. So, what's it like for you?
So to answer your question, normally I'm free on the weekends. I've got 2 kids as well, and sometimes
you do? Okay.
A 4-year-old and a 2-year-old, and sometimes when you're wrangling the children, it can kind of, sometimes you can't really hear what's going on in the game. But normally free unless something crazy is going on. But that's I guess one of the benefits. Normally we don't work on the weekends unless we're deployed. So.
Do they ever watch with you? Because my kids will watch my kids are 8 and 6, so they're old enough to watch, but they kind of watch like 10 or 15 minutes, and then they don't pay attention unless we score after that. So do your kids show any interest at all?
Well, so my daughter does, and we got her playing soccer this past year. And she's shown a little bit of interest in it. Like she understands, like she sees me playing FIFA and, wearing
Yeah.
the jersey, talking about the team all the time. And, she'll watch it for about 5 minutes, but she's 4. So the
Right,
attention
of
span.
course.
Yeah. But like when she scored this weekend, I was jumping around celebrating and stuff. And she asked me, hey, Daddy, did we score? And I said, yes. And she got excited. But she'll get there one day. She's a little young.
Yeah, she's young. And I find with my kids, they can't concentrate on anything that lasts more than 3 minutes, because they're kind of
Yeah.
they're from the YouTube generation and they'll play Minecraft for like an hour, right?
Yeah.
Watching something, they have the attention span of a gnat, I mean, they're great kids, but the whole idea of like 45 minutes concentrate on something, and they both play soccer. Isaac is going to play travel for our town here in the fall, which is great. So they play and they seem to like playing. But watching any sporting event for them, it doesn't really matter what it is. Soccer's the only one they'll watch, actually. And it's very much like they're in and out all the time.
Yeah, I think unless like I remember when I first started watching football, I was probably closer to 10 before I really started like watching like every second of the game. So it takes time for them to fully understand and buy into it and actually care.
Well, they have a lot of options now. I watched football with my dad growing up. We watched the Cowboys because I grew up in Dallas, outside of Dallas. And I mean, I'm 45 years old. When I was a kid, there were like 5 channels on TV. So, I mean, I wasn't going to go do something else while we watched football, right? It was all there was to do was watch football. So, but my kids can jump on an iPad or jump on a Kindle or whatever. They can play Minecraft. They can do whatever they want. I mean, we limit them, but I mean, their choices are sort of endless. So,
Sure.
Yeah, I think it's going to be a while before they get into, watching on a regular basis. I think if I can ever take them live and see a match over there with them live, I think that'll make a big impression on them. So maybe in the next couple of years we can do that. But there's no question they have no choice but to support West Ham. They know that for sure.
Yeah. Yeah. Same here.
There's no doubt about that at all. So how long have you been a West Ham fan? You said you watch Green Street, which is the case for a whole lot of people, and of course we've all seen it. How long do you go back? Do you know? You remember?
I would say I've been following them like religiously for the past 4 years, like 3.5, 4 years. I started getting in at the end of the last season at the Bowling Ground, and then season, with the new London Stadium move and stuff. Yeah, I was fired up for them, and that was really when the commitment started. But when I first, I've been following them, I would say probably for about 10 years, but it was nothing more than like, checking up, see how they're doing. Oh, we got relegated. Oh shit, whatever. But
Right. Well, I mean, the beautiful thing about, well, I don't know if it's beautiful, but the unique thing maybe about supporting West Ham over a lot of other clubs is that no matter when you become a fan, you became a fan when we were garbage, because we're sort of always garbage. So there's no such thing as a West Ham glory hunter, right? I mean,
we're not winning trophies.
We're not winning trophies.
So no one came in on a trophy year, unless you're talking 1980.
Right. 40 years. And if you've been following us for 40 years, then you've suffered enough. But even 4 years, it's not like saying, "Oh, I've been a Manchester City fan for 3 years." If you're West Ham, you've suffered. Do you have friends who follow soccer at all, and do you ever have any banter with them?
I do. It's mostly on different group chats and stuff that I'm in. I've got one really good friend who's a Manchester United fan, and he's been a fan forever. So I don't really fault him for any of that. But I guess I've got a lot more friends that are more like casual fans, and they follow the cities of the world or the Manchester Uniteds or one of the big clubs where it's easy to just fall in and start supporting them and say, oh, look how successful we are. But for me, what really drew me toward this club was the fans and how passionate they were. And, you watch enough games and you get connected with people on social media and you're like, oh my God, it's just different.
Yeah, it is.
Obviously, when it's great, but I don't know, is the fans separate themselves from other fan groups, and that's the reason why.
I think the best thing about supporting West Ham is the fans. I felt that for a long time. It's really the reason I became a fan ultimately, was because of the fans. And also I met some fans of other clubs and decided I didn't want to be one of them, you know. But yeah, it's definitely the fans. And it's you'll see, I'm sure, as you've seen on social media, there's a fair amount of infighting, but I do think that West Ham, it's more of a family with West Ham because you really have to have a commitment to this club to support it. It's not the kind of thing where you're going to do it just because we're good, because we're generally not very good. So
yeah,
we're not great anymore. Yeah, so it's rare to come across another American West Ham fan, which is one of the reasons why we do this show. We want to see how many were out there and see how many we could get on,
Yeah.
Because you don't just come across them every day. I met a guy at work the other day. I had to talk to him about a work-related issue anyway, but he was limping. He had a boot on his foot, and he had a cane of crutch. And he said he had injured himself playing soccer. And I was like, oh, okay. He had like a little accent. I don't know where he's from. I didn't ask where he was from. But I was like, okay, yeah, so let's talk about this, And so he's like, he loves to play, plays every week, et cetera, et cetera. And I was like, well, I'm a big fan. I support West Ham in the Premier League. And he's like, yeah, all my friends watch the Premier League. So that's all he said. Yeah. And I was like, all right, well, okay. Nice talking to you. It didn't go very far. So yeah, to meet another West Ham fan, I told Tim, I've said this on the show before, we had a bunch of construction in our office over the summer, and I've got a West Ham flag in the office, the same one Tim's got behind him there that we got at the Premier League morning thing in Boston. And yeah, that one. And this guy comes up to me, and he's like, yeah, I'm a fan. It's like, I went to the Boleyn. He's like, I've been following West Ham for years. He's one of the construction guys, worked on the crew, We had a nice chat. We chatted several times. I told him about the channel. He watched a couple episodes. I mean, it's just really cool when that happens because you take a total stranger and it's like an immediate bond with somebody.
Yeah.
And I don't think it works that way if you're Liverpool or Manchester City, Manchester United. I don't think they feel that way. I think they're more cautious of you, like, well, are you a real fan? Or are you a bandwagon fan? Or, why are you here? But with West Ham, it's like, no, you're one of us. If you're stupid enough to follow this club, then you're one of us.
All right, we're going to try something different tonight. We dabbled with it the last couple shows we've had. We're going to pull up some West Ham news items that basically just Google West Ham and then click on news and see if we can decipher any of this, these line items here. I'm going to share the screen just a minute here.
It's good to see our guys in the chat room, Charlie and Gabe.
Yeah.
And Charlie, who's once again up in the middle of the night watching us.
This is awesome. All right, so hold on. Oh God, can you guys see this at all? Or am I tripping?
No, I can see it.
You can see it. All right. So basically, this one that stands. So basically, what we do is we scroll down the news items and see anything that stands out to either laugh at or go in depth or give our own opinions on them. So basically, Daily Mail, which is one of my favorites, it says West Ham midfielder Jack Wilshere looks so off pace, it's hard to see him getting back on track. What are your thoughts on Jack Wilshere, Andy? Andrew, I'm sorry.
So I wrote this down before the show started because I tried to come prepared a little bit. But
you don't ever do that. I never do that.
But Jack Wilshere is one of those guys that I'm rooting for very, very hard.
Yeah.
And I want him to play well. I remember at the end of the season the last game of the season when we played Watford, when he came on and he and Noble were on the field together, I thought they played really well together. And obviously, I think Noble has that way with a lot of different players. But I do think that his fitness levels need a little bit of work. But I think it's too early to tell. I think that he's still getting his game back, and it's going to take some time. And unfortunately, I think a number of our players are like that. But I don't know. I think, in 2, 3, 4 games, I think we'll see a truer version of what Wilshere will look like for the season.
Yeah. What do you think, Lee?
I was probably more excited about Jack Wilshere and maybe Pablo Fornals than almost any other players going into this.
Yeah, me too.
Those two were probably ones I was most excited about. And am concerned that Wilshire. I mean, I think skill-wise, he could still be our best player. I'm really concerned about his level of fitness, and I don't mean temporary level of fitness. I mean permanent level of fitness. I wonder if all these injuries have taken a toll on him, and he's really lost his pace. Because I do think the writer of the article is correct. I do think he's been disappointing, and I would actually sort of like to see, maybe Mark Noble come in, support Declan against Watford. So I will. I mean, after 2 matches, I shouldn't panic. But what else are we going to do here if not panic? So I'll say, yeah, I'm very concerned about Jack Wilshere, and I'm a little worried that he may never get back to the form we expected. I don't know. What's your take, Tim?
Yeah. My take is it's a matter of who's around him. I guess that's the way it's been looking. I guess you made it perfectly. I mean, you made a perfect point a couple of weeks ago or a week ago, whatever, when you were saying that the biggest issue is that the team just did not look prepared.
Yeah, and I thought that,
and they still don't look prepared.
Yeah, I agree.
They still don't look fit. Yeah. So on that, I 100%, 1,000% agree with you. I wasn't on that show when you said that, but I agree with you 1,000,000%. And it's still showing with him, but not just him, but everybody, not everybody else, most everybody. I think Fornals is good. I think he's really good. It's just he needs players to be at his level around him. And other than, Lanzini, no one's really stepping up and putting in that effort. I know everybody's going to say Antonio's putting in the effort, which he probably is, but he just doesn't have that level of class that, Fornals needs around him. And with Wilshere, I think he does need Noble. I really do. I don't know if it's a bromance thing or what, but I unfortunately, I can't believe I'm saying this, but I think Noble needs to be back on the pitch.
No, I think.
Hold on, let me stop myself. Hold on. All right.
No, we need his leadership. I mean, I've said I can't remember. We've been doing the show since the end of January, and so we've sat through a fair number of West Ham games by now, and many times I've said I think we're getting into Mark Noble, but I'll tell you, not right now. I feel as though I know he wasn't healthy for Saturday, but he should be for Watford, and I feel as though we need him.
So yes,
I mean, we need him. And
Declan can't do it all himself.
Can anybody explain to me, Andrew? I want to get your feelings on this too. Two things that baffled me. Well, more than two, but the top 2 things that baffled me on Saturday. Angelo Ogbonna, was Balbuena hurt? What happened with that? Why was
he was on the bench? So I don't know if he was really hurt. Right?
Why was Ogbonna in the starting 11? Why was he captain? And
tenure.
and why was Antonio not in the starting 11? I thought he should have been. I thought he should have been in the starting 11. I don't know. Pellegrini's decision making right now, and it's not the first time, really has me wondering what he's thinking. I don't know. Andrew, did you have any thoughts on that?
Yeah. It's so on paper, the squad that he put out looked fairly dangerous, but a big thing for me, and it's been very apparent the last 2 games, like they're still learning to play with each other. And I think that, Pellegrini, I think that he likes the idea of these little quick pacey players that can, dribble past people and make these, nice runs. But if you're not linking up with anybody, it doesn't matter how many good athletes you have on the field. And obviously, you saw, when Antonio went on, he changed the game entirely.
Yeah.
But I think that maybe it's kind of silly to say this, but it's almost like he had an inflated opinion of how good that team was that he put out there. When in reality, they were not ready, and they're still learning to play together.
I think you're absolutely right, 100% right. It's not the first time he's done this. It's not the first time he's made baffling changes. I mean, why Sanchez comes on the pitch ever, I don't know. I know he came in late. He came in, 83rd minute, something like that. But why we ever see him, I don't know. I mean, as far as I'm concerned, he can move on. I would prefer to see, if we're going to go with an attacking player in that situation, let's bring the Swiss guy on, the new guy. Give him a run out, see what happens. I just there were things about that match that just, and it's not the first time. It's just baffling to me. Some of his lineups. Now we're not in training.
It happened all season last season.
That's what I'm saying.
He barely had the same lineup two matches in a row last season. But I understand that there was a lot of injuries and whatnot, and so that kind of understand. And same thing with this last match. Anderson and Allaire were both not doing well, so injured. So I can understand, but
This
But
squad is actually deeper than we've had in the past.
Sanchez should never be on the bench. I mean, that's that. And honest to God, like listen, the next person that defends Fabianski for like, hold on. Let me rephrase my thought.
I'm not defending him right now.
I'm sick of people saying, oh, well, the defense is fault. Oh, yeah, the defense is fault. How many goals have to be let in, before we say, well, it's Fabianski's fault? Like is it never Fabianski's fault that the goal goes in the net? And also that other one that was overturned. I mean, that was sickening. Like that one, I fucking almost threw my phone. Like I was the one that was overturned,
Right.
and it was close. That was a close call, actually. And anyway,
we said all last season that if we'd had VAR last season, it might have saved us 8 points. Well, it's already saved us 2. This season, it's already saved us 2 with that overturned goal. And of course, there was one against Manchester City that was overturned that didn't really make a difference in the result. But,
exactly. So yeah. So anyway, I mean, my point is, I'm sick of people. How do I put it? I'm not saying get rid of him. I'm not saying bench him. I'm not saying I hate him. I'm just saying get him off the clouds. Like pull him down to, I mean,
I think that's fair.
He's not as great as everybody says he is. I mean, he deserves some blame as well.
He does. I think
every match that he lets in a goal, he should be taking some of that fucking blame. That's all I'm saying.
Weirdly, it drives me nuts that, and I should be happy for Adrian because I always loved him as a West Ham player. But I mean, how on earth is our second choice goalkeeper from last season starting for the European champions?
Yeah.
And I mean, I know he had an error on Saturday, but mostly doing pretty well so far.
People are already giving me shit in the chat room about the Fabianski hate, and it's not really hate. It's just you can't. I mean, in Charlie's, and you're saying, but he had a good game. I'm like, no, but that's what happens every single match that we play. And that's what happened all last season because he led the league in saves. Oh, but he saved us. Oh, he saved us. He had a great game because he had like 5 or 6 saves. Yeah, but the goals he let in, that's what hurts more than his saves.
Yeah.
Okay? He shouldn't be. I mean.
Andy, what do you think of Fabianski at the moment? Andrew, sorry, I wonder why I called you Andy because my son's name is Andrew and I never call him Andy.
You're good.
Well, that's his Instagram name. That's why I call him Andy.
Oh, it is? Okay. All right. I don't feel so bad then.
I would say that there's a lot of blame to go around. So I do think that you do have a good point. Like Fabianski, he needs to. He's streaky. So yeah, he had a number of good saves that prevented us from losing on Saturday, but he's given up 2 goals and one of them got called back, thankfully. But he needs to like mellow out and play consistently. I would also say, and this is something that me and my wife noticed when we were watching. My wife played soccer in college, so she's probably more educated on this stuff than I am. But we were like, my God, the damn midfield needs to get back and support the center backs because they are getting just left completely exposed. And when you've got 2 center backs versus 4 attacking players, a shot is going to be taken against the goal, So
yeah, no, you're absolutely right. You're right. And again, I think I think that's where Noble would be an asset to us because he is a little bit more of a defensive player. Although we know that he can go forward. Sometimes his cross field passing and his downfield passing can be tremendous. But we know that Noble can defend as a midfielder, and I think that's a lot of what we're missing.
Noble brings that leadership piece that I don't think, at least on Saturday, anybody else had.
Absolutely.
I think ability to organize the players a little bit better, and that's why that's one reason why I thought it was kind of weird that they picked on Bono to captain. But I think that he has the ability to rally players, and I look at a guy like Declan Rice, who last year he put out all last season. He's making tackles and sacrificing his body, and it's a very small sample size in the first 2 games, but I haven't been convinced that same level of effort's been put out. And I love Declan Rice; he's a great player, but there are a number of times where I'm like, dude, get back! What are you doing?
So if it wasn't for I got to finish a couple things up here. I really do, because it's.
I want to get to Neil's comment in a minute, but go ahead.
Yeah, what was I gonna say, man? You threw me off, man.
Sorry.
Son of a bitch. No, it's okay. So the great the thing that Neil just said about Balbuena. So basically, they were saying that Pellegrini wanted to have this left-right partnership. What does he say? It's right here. It says, according to Claret and Hugh, he was left out writing yesterday as the manager looked for a right-left central defensive partnership. But we all remember when those two, Ogbonna and Diop, were partnered up last year, how well that went, right?
Right.
I mean, that's ridiculous. But on the other thing, the Fabianski thing, a couple people did come to my defense saying that, he does find himself out of position sometimes. I would say more often than not. But here's the thing, is that people are saying that he probably saved the win for us. But that's incorrect, because VAR saved the win for us, because if VAR wasn't there, then we would have lost 2-1 because of him, because he let in 2 goals. Yeah. One of them was called back. So don't give me that shit. Anyway.
I don't understand the whole left-right partnership. I mean, don't we? I thought we had established that Balbuena and Diop were our center backs, and they were our best defensive partnership, and that we would go with them.
I'm thinking Diop needs a break. I really am. I mean, he looked that way last year. He looked out of gas. I mean, he looked gassed. He didn't look as strong. I mean, because it was his first year in the Premier League, and I think he needs another break.
I think he needs Balbuena with him. I think that's part of the problem.
But he wasn't even looking that good with Balbuena, is my point, this season, or even in preseason. So
everybody looked garbage in the preseason, but yes, you're right. He hasn't looked that good. I don't understand, why are we messing with the central defensive partnership for this? Left, right, why? Was it something that Brighton offered that Pellegrini saw that he wanted to
he wanted to draw against?
Well, that's what I'm saying. I mean, why is this all of a sudden a concern when we've had Balbuena and Diop as our primary central defensive partnership for, I mean, when they were both healthy all season last season, and all of a sudden we get into the second match of the season and we're experimenting with different things. We've made Ogbonna captain. I don't get it. To me, Pellegrini, the advantage with Pellegrini is I think he has brought in some players who might not otherwise have signed for us, because he is a well-known manager. But tactically, and in terms of the players he picks, I often am left just completely baffled by him. Totally baffled. I love the fact that he tries to play attacking football. I love the fact that, he seems to want us to score goals, go forward, even when we're, up against a top 6 club, and sometimes it works. But, man, some of his choices are just, I don't get it.
They're very Bilic, man. I mean, Bilic, but the difference with Bilic is that he'd play everybody out of position in every single match.
Well, right.
He'd take the lineup and then just shift everybody over a position.
Yeah, Bilic was an amateur. I'm sorry, but he was.
And
I don't support that at all. But
Allardyce, you knew what you were getting, and I think with Pellegrini, man, it's so confusing. I mean, well, with Bilic, you knew what you were getting. You were going to be getting of just a what the fuck lineup, like every single match. Now this one, and he was pissing his players off by playing people out of position, like Snodgrass and everybody else, and Antonio right back. Shit. Well, here we go. Let's put you guys want Antonio on the pitch. Put him at right back, because we need a fucking right back, because our right back sucks. He belongs in Championship. Maybe he should go to West Brom and play with Slav. Anyway. So no, but that's another rant for another time. So anyway, no, my point was with Pellegrini, we're not there in the training pitch. We're not there in the training ground. We don't know what's going on. We don't know who's sick, who's ill, who's pulling a calf or pulling a whatever in practice, stubbing a toe. We don't know. So that sucks. But at least with Allardyce, I mean, we could kind of predict, even though we weren't there, like what kind of lineup he was going to put out every single week. And not that I like that. I mean, but the point is with Pellegrini, but but like you were saying, Lee, is that his lineups every single week are like, what are you doing? Like, why is Chicharito starring up by himself? Why is Frederick still even on the squad? And why? I mean, for example, and
we know Chicharito is not good by himself up top. Yes, I know he scored on Saturday, but he wasn't all that. But oddly enough, he wasn't all that good.
He had no service in the whole first half.
None. It's not really even his fault. It's not. System for
it's the wrong system. Correct.
We know he's not good up front by himself. We know Balbuena Diop are generally our best defensive pairing. we know that Angelo Ogbonna is not a captain. Why is he a captain? I don't know. I look again, at several of these decisions, and I think to myself, I thought we had this sorted, and I don't know why he's making these changes. Again, it's the second match of the season. Yes, I know we got thrashed against Manchester City. I thought we should have tried to play a little more defensively. That's an unpopular opinion, but that's how I feel. But honestly, I don't. This felt like panic moves, and it's August, so I don't know what he's doing. I have no idea. Again, though, Tim, you're right. We're not on the training ground. We don't see who has a good attitude, a bad attitude. We don't see who complains, who doesn't complain. We don't see who puts in effort, who doesn't. So maybe a lot of that is a factor that we're not seeing. Those are factors that we're not seeing that go into his choices.
Yeah. So Andy, Andrew, what are your thoughts on our team's fitness per se, or our effort so far?
I think the effort has been not good enough. I mean, obviously, when you play Manchester City, it's very likely that you're going to get your fucking ass handed to you. But in my opinion, this is just, what was instilled in me playing sports growing up. Like, there's no excuse for lack of effort. And
absolutely
correct.
We can question the team that was put out there all day long, but it's the guys that are out there. And I commend a guy like Snodgrass who worked his ass off the entire game. On Saturday. But like, why is somebody like Declan Rice, who is, what is he, 20 years old? Like, why is he not running his ass back there to support his defenders, to try to prevent a shot from happening instead of leaving guys isolated? I watched the highlights just before the show started, and like there are a number of plays where Bright was going forward and Masuaku was just kind of jogging back, just kind of chilling. It's so frustrating to watch. I don't care if we're small or whatever the problem is. Like, there's no excuse for lack of hustle, in my opinion.
Correct. Especially, yeah. I mean, it's so cliche, but they're paid professionals, right? I mean,
highly paid professionals. Yes.
And God, they make I'm not going to use that as an excuse. I mean, because effort's effort, but son of a bitch, man. When you can notice, we talked about this last season. I mean, there were matches where players were just not putting a shift in, and it was they were always dragging the rest of the players down, the quality down. When one or two players were just lazily pass the ball, heading the ball up in the air, and giving the ball away. I mean, come on, like, or getting frustrated. Oh, they get beat, so they commit a stupid foul.
But you have to point a finger at the manager to some extent, right?
To some extent. I mean, yeah, we're not Pelly out, but I mean, at the same time, like, he's got a paid staff of people that's their job is to get these players trained and fit, right? What are they doing?
And the players have to accept responsibility for themselves. 75% of it, 80% of it, 90% of it is the players. And I agree with that completely. And I think they're not accepting responsibility. But he has to be the person who makes them accept responsibility. He has to be the one. And this is something I think Allardyce did. And I think if you talk to Jack Collison, he'll tell you that he did this. And Allardyce's problem to me was
one thing I miss about him.
Allardyce's problem was tactical, that he parked the bus, and if we conceded, then we just collapsed, But you remember what Jack said about playing for Allardyce? He would come in and he would roast players. Where were you? When you were supposed to be here and you weren't here? You were supposed to track back and you didn't. You were supposed to be, He would come in and he would give them very specific, let's say, feedback, to use a nice, on what they did wrong.
Yeah, I miss that.
I don't know that. I think we could use some more of that. Again,
I miss when teams hated to come to the bowl and play us because they knew that we were going to play rough and we were going to play tough. We were going to be strong defensively.
Yeah.
I mean, that sucks. I mean, why can't we have it both ways? Why can't we have a solid defense like that and an amazing, pretty offense? You know what I mean? Why not?
I don't know. Maybe it's too expensive to buy a team like that. I don't know. What do you think, Andrew? What's your take?
What I was going to say, so all summer pundits have talked about, the progression that West Ham has made. And with these new signings and the new guys that we brought in, I've read a number of articles, written in, the Daily Mail or whatever English newspaper is talking about it, Sky Sports, and they're talking a top 6 finish. They're talking about, reaching the FA Cup final or whatever. And I think that with the talent this team has, I think those are realistic possibilities. The problem is, and you see it time and again with different sports teams. They read too much of their own press clippings and they think that they're better than they are, and that degrades their performance on the field because it's almost like they just have to show up. And
yes.
I mean, I never played soccer, but I know from watching this team enough and knowing what players that we have, like, we are not good enough to do that. City might be good enough to do that, but we have to put in a shift every freaking week. And if we don't do that, we're going to have a result like we had against Brighton where it's 1-1. And on paper, there's no reason we should be fucking tying Brighton.
No, exactly.
Seriously.
If we're going to be top 6, then you don't concede 5 at home to Manchester City. I don't care who you are. Look at the Tottenham match this weekend. I mean, I'm sorry, but look how far behind Tottenham we are.
Tottenham has no depth, and for a club, I felt that I don't know.
And you don't concede 5 at home to anybody. You don't walk into Brighton, which could very well be a relegation-threatened club at the end of this season, and eke out a 1-1 draw thanks to VAR. I mean, look at the numbers from that game. We lost every conceivable statistic. They were all went against us, every single one. And it's just, I mean, this was a clear lack of preparation and lack of effort, and that's what drives me crazy. If I see 11 players plus substitutes who put out full effort for 90 minutes, that's really all I want to see.
So it doesn't matter what's on paper anymore. I mean, these sheets, these team sheets piss me off. It's like if you look at our guys, statistically, history, their stats on paper. I mean, it's good stuff, but that doesn't mean shit. It doesn't mean shit.
And listen, last season,
then why aren't they performing?
Last season we spent £100 million in the summer, and we lost our first 4 matches. Right. This season we went up. We got Aller, we got Fornals, we got guys who are, I know we didn't spend as much money, but we supplemented. We brought in depth, and we had an absolute tonking again against Manchester City in our first match at home. We had another disappointing draw. We probably should have lost against Brighton. It's starting just the way last season started. And again, I mean, every club brings in new players over the summer, right? I mean, every club brings in new players. Every club deals with this. I get tired of hearing this too. Well, they haven't played together. Neither guys who played for 19 other Premier League clubs, they haven't played together either, They're all coming in. They've had departures. They've had additions. This is football. That's the way it is. It's always that way. So what I don't understand is why we come into August and we look as if we're not even in preseason form. Part of it is down to the players and their lack of effort, but it's got to be the manager who goes in and provides an atmosphere in which they can motivate themselves to put out effort. He has to be the one to give him a kick up the backside. I'm sorry, but he does. And I don't think he does that. He's an old man.
I don't understand the lack of preparation comes in. I don't understand why it's always a slow start in August. I looked at a stat today. I think the only game that we've won in August in the past 3 years is the first game at the London Stadium.
That's right. Well, we beat Arsenal, and was that maybe that was a Payet season? We beat Arsenal in the first game. But yeah, it's rare. Yeah, it's rare.
Yeah. Oh yeah, that was but it's just it doesn't make any sense, and I think that you bring up a really good point because rosters are constantly changing, and you see. You pull up the standings, but you see teams that were not that good, and they're winning their first game. Like, I'm obviously beating home would be hard, but there's no excuse. Like, we should beat Brighton. That's not that tall of a task.
And I don't think we've ever beaten Brighton in the Premier League. But you're right. I mean, we should beat Brighton.
Crazy.
This is what drives me crazy, and I really hated hearing all the excuses about Manchester City in our first match. Everybody said, well, we gave them a good go. Well, this was bound to happen. It wasn't bound to happen. We went into the Etihad last year. We played them to a standstill. We lost that game 1-0 on a dodgy penalty. We played them to an absolute standstill. Yeah. There is no reason to give up 5 goals to anybody at home, ever. It's inexcusable. And it's inexcusable that we start seasons this way. And I'm tired of coming in with, millions spent on players and new players in the side and depth and all these great expectations and all this excitement. And guess what we look like? We look like a club that's going to battle relegation again. Or certainly not doing better.
So the Manchester City without VAR would have been, what, 6-0?
Would have been
8-0? Yeah, 6-0?
At least 6.
So then we would have lost 2-1.
Imagine
to So yeah, imagine if there was no VAR this season, we would have the same season we were having last year, and everybody's saying, "Oh well, it was still a good match. We were. It was tough to draw them. Oh, they were such a great team. Oh, they played very well." And I'm like,
tough place to go. What is Brighton a tough place to go? I mean, I'm sorry.
Well, it's not a tough place to go. It's just that they do have their manager actually is appearing to be a very well organized man.
I agree,
and seems to get his players to play for him. So good on him, right?
Well, yeah. Declan Rice, and I'm sorry to, be down on him a little bit right now because I know he's our superstar and he's young, but he went out on Twitter the day after the match, or the day after the match. He says, always a tough place to go. Brighton's always a tough place to go. I mean, you got Anfield.
For who? For us?
Yeah. What I'm saying. I mean,
not for Watford. I mean, not for all these other clubs. You know what I mean? Like they almost got fucking relegated last season.
Go to Goodison Park. You're going to have to go. I mean, stupid Wolves are looking good. They're going to have a good season.
Oh boy, yeah.
Their ground, whatever it's called. Yeah, I mean, always a tough place to go. Really, Brighton? Yeah, that great traditional powerhouse. That stuff drives me nuts.
Down by the sea.
Bro, it's a seaside resort in August. It's like the best place you could possibly go in England.
Yeah. Ooh, that tough atmosphere, yeah.
That's what I'm saying.
Rough and
They're
tumble.
not known for anything at all.
Nah, even the Hammer Shack guys. So I know I got one on here right now, Charlie, but Gonzo was posting his a little live video, at the stadium, inside the stadium before the match, before the people started piling in. And he even said it himself. The place looks pristine. It looks super clean, super polished. I mean, there's nothing scary about it whatsoever.
No.
I mean, even the pitch looks slick. I mean, it's.
You're gonna have to go face the cops. You're gonna have to go to Stamford Bridge. You have to go to Tottenham's new ground, which I'm sorry is a fantastic stadium. I'm sorry, but it is. It holds a lot of. Always a tough place to go. Get out of here. I'm not listening to that. I hate hearing that. I want to hear players say, you know what? We just weren't good enough. We weren't prepared. We weren't ready. We didn't play well enough because they didn't play well enough. Yeah.
All right. So before we leave, we're gonna quickly do two quick hammers polls.
Sorry, Andrew, I've been known to go on a bit. Sorry about that. Anyway, let's do hammers polls.
We're gonna do two. Hold on one second. I just gotta pull it up. All right. Because I don't have the 10 questions tonight, so we're just gonna do a couple of these. All right. So first one is, who should start against Watford, Wilshere or Noble? We kind of touched on that earlier, but I don't know. I don't know if it's an or, right? It shouldn't be an or. It should be like.
Maybe it's not. Yeah.
Should they start together? I mean, we've already kind of touched on that.
Let's get Andrew's take. What do you think?
That's a tough question. Because I do think that Wilshere needs more minutes to get his game back, but I think Noble has to be in the squad. He's healthy. He's got to be in there. We've not played good enough without him. It can't make it worse with him being in there. Correct. So I would Noble if I had to pick one or the other.
Totally, 100%.
Yeah, I was completely opposite with that. I was totally. I was one of the people saying, "Where's he going to fit? Where's Noble going to fit in the squad now that we signed all these players? Blah blah blah. We can do without him. No big deal." But I can't believe it. But yeah, I think we definitely need him back. Let's just get into a different one. So, would you be happy with 3 center backs against Watford? Maybe like 3 center backs, 2 wing backs, 2 mids, and then I don't know what else up there. But I think that's what they might be thinking. I don't know if it's a 3-5-2 or what. But basically like Ogbonna and Balbuena and Diop, because certainly we can't do shit with 2. What would it hurt having a 3rd center back in there? I guess I don't know what the point of the question is. Who brought that up? But yeah, would you be happy with 3? Or
what's your take?
I think that's awfully defensive. I don't hate the idea of wingbacks, but I think that's getting a little too cute with it. Because we've seen when we were playing well with 2 center backs, where it has worked. So I think that getting more squirrely with the starting lineup, that that may be kind of productive because we haven't played with three center backs since.
Right. I think, Andrew, I think you nailed it when you said our midfielders are not tracking back. I don't think we need another center back. I think we need midfielders who will track back and defend. I think one of those is Mark Noble. So, yeah, I would say no to three center backs.
Pretty damn close.
Unless you're talking about taking Ryan Fredericks off the pitch and moving one of our center backs out to right back.
I'd fuck him right off the championship.
You know
Just get out.
You might as well try it. What do you think about that question, Tim?
Yeah, I'm down for it. Even if it means Declan dropping down into to his natural position of center back, and then having Noble and Wilshire in front of him, or Noble and Snodgrass, or Wilshire and Snodgrass, or whatever. Because Snodgrass is really, at his age, just like a Gerard was, like changing positions. You know what I mean? Like he should be a central midfielder, not an attacking midfielder at his age.
Yeah.
And anyway, yeah. So I'd say yeah, but. It was a close one. I think it was 58% to 42%, something like that. Yeah. Let's do this one last one here. So was Yarmolenko's 13-minute cameo against Brighton enough to earn more game time?
So I was saying that he needed to come on earlier. And the main reason why I thought that is because the lack of size, the lack of physical ability that we had to, go up and get those balls. I think a guy like Yarmolenko helps out in that department, especially like if you put him on earlier with Antonio, you've got two bigger guys that are going forward. Lanzini, Fornals, Chicharito, they offer nothing in the air, nothing physically at all. And I think that Yarmolenko's another guy. I think that he needs some minutes to get his game back. But, I mean, he had a pretty massive impact earlier in the season last year. And with the way that we played on Saturday, putting him in, it can't make it worse. We were playing like shit for the entire game. So I think that he needs to come on earlier.
Yeah, but I definitely need. I think that Snodgrass and someone else in the chat room just said this as well, that he puts in the shift and fights every single match, whether or not he's 100% on. He at least puts out the fight, and that's what the team's lacking. Which contradicts what I usually say about, well, we need to keep our class players, the ones that are a whole new level, like all together and put out on the pitch. Because when we throw in someone like Fredericks or Antonio or someone else who doesn't have, the flair or the class fundamentals, are consistent, players, well, it kind of messes things up. But now I'm looking at it like, well, nothing's fucking working. So let's put out people with fight, because there's no fight.
Well, I think regardless of his 13 minutes, I think Yarmolenko is probably the best option, period.
I love Yarmolenko. Yeah, absolutely. I do. Yeah.
Him out there on the wing, and I think he's just our best option in general. I don't know if it matters how he did against Brighton. I'm not sure that's even relevant. I think he's our best option if he's healthy. So I say yes, absolutely.
Yeah. I mean, his fitness still is in question, though. I think that he gasses too easy right now. He looks exhausted. I mean, he looks like he's got malaria half the time. He's sweating like his mouth open and whatnot. So I think he needs to just get on the bike a bit or the treadmill and just start running before he goes out there again. But Antonio, he'll do the same. I mean, he pushes it, though. I give him one thing I give about Antonio is that he is an athlete, and everybody will say that he's an athlete, and he'll run. He'll run himself into the ground where he'll be his mouth open, he's gassed. There's nothing left in the guessing, but he'll pull out he'll pull out something out of his butt, but it's too inconsistent for me. That's my problem with him. He's not clinical. He's a brute, and he's super fast. He's an amazing athlete. He's a specimen, but is that what we need? Maybe. I don't even know anymore. You know what? I just don't know anymore.
Well,
this team is just killing me, man.
I thought he should have started on Saturday only because of the situation we were in, where we didn't have Anderson, didn't have Allaire. I thought he would have been a good option for some pace on the outside. I thought we were, but I feel as though if we do get Allaire back, with Anderson back, with Noble and Yarmolenko on the side, we need a little more toughness and grit. And I think I think that Yarmolenko is the kind of guy who can bring that. And Noble is the kind of player who can bring that. I think to some extent Snodgrass does too with his effort, but it's true that he's as you said, he's getting a little older. He's having a little trouble keeping up. Um, I think we need a little more physicality. I'm with Andrew on this one too. I think we need more physicality, a little more toughness. We need to be more intimidating, particularly at home. Remember, we beat them 4-1, like what 3 months ago. Watford. I'm talking about here.
Yeah.
So, and in theory, we're supposed to be better. And I don't know how much better they're supposed to be, but this should be a cakewalk for us on Saturday. And I have a feeling it won't be.
Yeah, no, they again, we're too inconsistent still. I mean, Watford's another one of those teams where we'll be expecting a win because we'll have one up on them. Then the next match we'll get beaten. It happens all the time with them.
Going to score against us because Troy Deeney always scores against us. So Troy Deeney, we know that much.
Yeah.
Somebody needs he needs to disappear. Hey,
well,
what can the Marines do about Troy Deeney? Can you work on that for us?
Yeah.
Oh man, that's a question we need to answer offline, I think.
Yeah.
All right. Well, speaking of, it's about that time. We got to wrap things up here. I would like to thank Lee for joining me tonight, even though we were supposed to be on the earlier show. Thanks for stepping up tonight. And I also like to thank the few people who definitely stepped up and were going to fill in for us this evening, but they didn't have to. So thanks, guys. You know who you are. I hope everybody I hope everybody made it home safely from Vegas.
Yes.
We're actually going to have 2 people on tomorrow night after our interview. So tomorrow night we have an interview with a guy from Richmond, Virginia. And after the interview, we're going to spend about 15 minutes or 20 minutes talking with Wally and Gary from South Carolina, who were both there in attendance. So we're not going to go too far into it, but we're going to definitely talk to them quite a bit about it. And it should be good. So me and Ben from Mile High Hammers will be interviewing a gentleman from Richmond, Virginia, tomorrow at 9 p.m. Eastern time. And then on Tuesday, we have our Fantasy Premier League show. So thank you to the 199 people who are in our league. And it's been real fun so far. I know, the standings have been flip-flopping and going all over the place. I mean, it's so funny that, I had Fabianski the first week just because I'm like, you know what? I'm going to change things up. I bitched so much about him. I'm going to start him. And then this week I start Ederson. And I put Fabianski on the bench. And Fabianski had a better game than Ederson did. What the fuck?
I know we're deep into the show here, but if you go to our website, which I'm still trying to work on, I know it's not very good, but it does exist. We have a link to our scarves where you can buy a scarf. Please buy a scarf if the spirit moves you, because we do need to sell a few more in order to actually get them made.
Yeah, because if you guys remember, the posts that I was making said it's a pre-order. So thank you to everyone who purchased a pre-order. Right. We can't order them until we sell X amount. So I'm sorry to the people who've already ordered one. Yeah. We can't place the order yet. So please, if you've already bought one, maybe buy another one. I don't know, or if you buy one for your kids or your wife or whatever, or husband or whatever, and buy one for your dog. They would look good wrapped around a dog too.
It's fantastic. People will talk everywhere you go. And I wanted to thank, and while we're still here, I wanted to thank Andrew for coming on with us tonight, and also, in all sincerity, thanks for what you do for our country, for serving.
Yeah, man, appreciate it.
We appreciate it immensely. I never served in the military. My dad did. My 3 of my cousins did. So I don't have a personal understanding of your sacrifice, but I've seen what they all went through, and we really, really appreciate you not only serving our country, but also coming on the show while you're moving and your house is empty.
I appreciate that.
With all the moving parts and stuff, but it ended up working out just fine. But yeah, like I said earlier, I enjoy this job, and hopefully, be doing it for a long time. But
cool.
Yeah. We feel that way about all the military guys. There's other ones out there too. So.
Yeah, definitely. Now, PJ in the chat room was asking a question about what happened with the interview with the KC guy. Just like Matthew Etherington, the day of the show, he mentioned that he couldn't do it, so he wanted to reschedule. Also, I'm telling you, I've had the worst luck lately when it comes down to people rescheduling. Because usually I'll book out so far in advance, and then because we fill up rather quickly, and then when it comes time to do the show, it would have been like 3 weeks ago. I scheduled it, and they're like, "Oh, I totally forgot about it," or "Oh crap, I made other plans," or "Oh, I got to do this," or "Oh, my family's." So anyway, I've been trying to get the guy on from the Hammer City Hammers too, the Ontario. So we tentatively booked another show with them too. They were supposed to be on last week, but the KC guy will definitely be back. I don't know what to tell you. I mean, just stay tuned, and if you here's the best way to stay tuned and informed. It's not social media. It's click the subscribe button, please, and then click that little notification bell, because when we add new content, which we do virtually almost every day, you'll be notified, and we got a ton of cool stuff coming out. So thank you, PJ. Thank you, Wally. I'm going to quickly scroll through, and thanks everybody that's been in here. Charlie from Hammers Chat. If you guys don't watch Hammers Chat, I don't know what you're doing.
You got to watch Hammers Chat.
Yeah, seriously. And Selly, who did our match full-time with Gaz and Selly match review with Gaz, so I appreciate that. You're in the chat room too. Tebow and Steve Mothersoul both in the chat room tonight. They're both going to be doing a monthly review show on our podcast network, which is awesome. Dunk Irons, who was sitting top in our fantasy league for I don't know how long. I don't know if he's still there or not.
Well, he's going to make it until May, so we'll see how long.
Ben Cart's a new one, so I appreciate you watching. I do. Gabe and Wally popped in, and who else was in here? I know Neil from Down Under. Neil, I can't forget Neil from Down Under.
Yeah. Probably work, I guess. It's like 10 o'clock in the morning, 11 o'clock in the morning.
Yeah, and Alex, our host of the Fantasy Premier League show. Mississippi Hammers.
Yep.
Yeah. So thank you guys. Thank you everyone. Thank you girls, guys. Thank you so much. So anyway, we'll see you tomorrow night, and then we'll see you Tuesday night, and we'll see you Wednesday, Thursday, no Friday, maybe Saturday, and then next Sunday. All right. Lots of stuff coming up. Thank you again, Andrew. Really appreciate it. Hook us up with the Kentucky people, and we'll hook you up with some Tampa people. Okay.
Oh, I shall.
Awesome. All right. Have a great night. Come on, you Irons.